Well, whether you want to call them the Washington Redskins, the Boston Redskins, the Boston Braves, the Washington Braves, the Washington football team, or the Washington Commanders. You know what? How about the Washington Brave Red Commanding Football Team? Huh? How about that? But whatever you want to call them, we're playing Washington's football team coming up this Sunday. Let's get on to this preview. Good Thursday morning, everybody. I'm Mac. Back with another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, link down in the box below. Week 10 on the horizon. The Pittsburgh Steelers are coming off their bye, and we are heading on down to our nation's capital, as it is the Pittsburgh Steelers at 6-2 taking on the Washington Commanders, who are 7-2. Couple of division leaders going at it in this matchup right here. If you told me at the beginning of the season that this would be a matchup of two division leaders at midseason, I probably would have recommended a psychologist for you. But here we are, midpoint of the season, battle of two division leaders and battle of two offenses that are coming in with confidence and two offenses that are coming in that have something to prove with both teams. So let's get on to this preview. And as usual, I am going to start talking about our opponent at first and counter that with talking about our team. So you take a look at Washington. They're 7-2 on the season. And, you know, while I'm certainly not taking anything away from them, because in the NFL, winning is prevalent and winning is imperative at all costs, especially when you play in a tough division like the AFC North is, minus the two Ohio teams, or the NFC West, where everything's completely crowded right now. The point is, you got to stack up on wins as much as you can, which is what the Pittsburgh Steelers have done the first half of the schedule, no matter who we've had to play. And people say that, well, the Steelers haven't really beaten anyone good. I mean, Atlanta's 6-3, LA is 5-3, and Denver, while they did get whacked by Baltimore, they have won 5 of their last 7, and they're 5-4. So are those teams not good? Anyway, people say that the Steelers really haven't beaten anyone, but Washington, again, I'm not taking anything away from them, but the teams they've beaten really aren't eye-popping as well, because the teams they've beaten are a combined 21-41 on the season, including sweeping the New York Giants. Now, again, you got to win as much as you can in the NFL today, and good for Washington to take advantage of that. But I feel like this game right here is going to be a big litmus test for both teams coming into this matchup. I've said a couple of times before in my pick'em video, and if you were in my stream on Sunday with the bye week, that I felt like this was going to be the toughest game that the Steelers have remaining on the schedule. Yes, tougher than both Baltimore games, tougher than both Cleveland games, tougher than Kansas City, and even tougher than Philly. I think personally this is the toughest game that we have left on the schedule. Okay? Because you take a look at Washington, they're under head coach Dan Quinn, and with the offense, it's a very air raid type of attack with offense under Cliff Kingsbury, and Washington is currently 4th in offense. And the reason that I hold this to a tougher standard than Baltimore is because we know how the Ravens play, seeing that we play them twice a year. Same deal with Cleveland and Cincinnati. With Washington, we don't have very familiarity with them, seeing that we play them once every election year, basically. So we're not familiar with Washington going into this matchup with their offense. So they have an air raid type of offense under Cliff Kingsbury, and that was the case when he was Arizona's head coach, and he had Kyler Murray for the first couple years as well. And I think it all starts with the man under center for the Commanders, as it is Jayden Daniels. And I say it every week with the guy. He is a superstar in the making. If he's not a superstar already, he is a superstar in the making. But give it like 2 or 3 more years, I think this guy has all the intangibles to be on the same level as guys like Patrick Mahomes, or Lamar Jackson. I really do think that. He is we all know his arm. He has a flamethrower for an arm. He has a rocket for an arm, both a flamethrower and a rocket for an arm, which is very rare nowadays for a quarterback because it's one thing to be able to launch the ball deep, but to be able to launch the ball fast and accurate is another thing on its own. So that's the kind of guy that Jayden Daniels is right there. He's an excellent deep ball thrower. He's a very accurate thrower as well. He's got a lot of velocity on his throws. And when he's not doing that, he's just a very dynamic playmaker as well. He rushes the ball real well. He scrambles to get himself out of sticky situations when the situation calls for it. He's very accurate. He's got great mental processing. He's a very smart young quarterback. Like I said, the guy has all the intangibles to be a top 3 quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. The only bad thing that I really have to say about Jayden Daniels so far, and it's a pretty fair thing to say about a quarterback like him, seeing that he's a rookie, is that he doesn't have a whole lot of experience just yet. And like I said, it's a fair thing to say because he's a rookie, you know? He hasn't really gone up against a stingy type of defense. He really hasn't had to face a defense that's punishing and physical. And he really hasn't had to go through any type of adversity just yet. And like I said, that'll come eventually, seeing that he's just a rookie. Those are really the only bad things, the only cons that I have to say about Jayden Daniels at the moment. Other than that, the kid is just a baller. He's personally easily my vote for Rookie of the Year, and it's not impossible to call him MVP as well. But, it's not just Jayden Daniels. I think he's just the main catalyst of the offense right there because Washington also does run the ball very effectively as well, and you see that with Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson. Now, Brian Robinson is listed as doubtful last time I checked for this game because he's been dealing with a hamstring injury. But Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson, when they are on the field at the same time with each other, it's a very good running back by committee type of offense that Washington has to take to alleviate some of the pressure off of their young quarterback right there. So it's just a very well-balanced offense that Washington has right now. And then you factor in receivers like Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown at wide receiver, 2 very good young receivers right there. And yeah, I think another really big strength of Washington's offense is that their offensive line, despite them possibly being down Cornelius Lucas, their left tackle with an ankle problem, Washington's offensive line has really played well this season as well. Washington does protect the ball very well. They are first in turnovers this season. They protect their quarterback very well. They don't give up a lot of pressure. They don't give up a ton of sacks. And like I said, they're careful with the ball and they hold on to it real well. Like I said, first in turnovers, Washington has only turned the ball over 3 times total this season. 3 times. Basically, they have 1 turnover every 3 games so far. I mean, that's just incredible how they're halfway through the season and they've only allowed 3 turnovers on offense. But then again, we have that type of offense that does that as well. These are 2 offenses that take very good care of the ball, and you don't see a lot of turnovers from them. So, that leads me into my first key to victory right here is that we cannot lose the turnover battle right here. I feel like 1 turnover by us, even if it's the smallest one, with us up by 10 points on Washington, is going to cost us. You cannot turn the ball over against these guys. If anything, you got to force turnovers on them. Okay. So winning the turnover battle here is vital. We lose the turnover battle here, I don't like our chances in this game. Okay. So that's my first key to victory right there. And we definitely have that type of defense that can cause turnovers. I mean, Beanie Bishop has 3 interceptions in his last 2 games. You got TJ Watt, the best defensive player on the planet, when he's not causing pressure to the quarterback and he's not sacking the quarterback. He's stopping the run effectively as well, and he's causing forced fumbles. He leads the league in forced fumbles since being drafted in 2017. So like I said, it's going to be a big litmus test for both teams. Washington doesn't turn the ball over a lot. They're going up against a defense that's not only physical and has a very good pass rush and makes you make quick decisions and makes you test your decision-making ability, but can also force turnovers as well. So, like I said, big litmus test, as I've said a couple of times already. But like I said, Washington also scores a ton of points. They're 4th in points per game this season. And so that's going to be a big test for our defense right there. And that's my second key to victory right there, as I mentioned with Jayden Daniels. And it kind of seems like I say this every single game about our defense, but it's much more prevalent right now. Winning in the trenches and pressuring Jayden Daniels is huge for this game. If you can keep Washington's offense off the field for as long as possible, you're in good hands to win. Because Washington's offense revolves around staying on the field, short bursts of offense, and getting points on the board. You know, and that may seem like kind of like a good thing as far as a defensive standpoint goes up, because at least the defense gets a little bit more rest in between those because Washington has short drives. But it kind of leads into a negative because let me tell you, for as good as Washington's offense is, their biggest strength is also their biggest weakness. Okay. Because, like I said, Washington's offense revolves around getting short drives, explosive plays, and just racking up points. Because Washington, you ever notice how when the Commanders score a touchdown or they get a touchdown drive or whatever, you ever notice how it's usually a short drive and it's typically a long play or you know a bomb from Jayden Daniels, like he had that Hail Mary against Chicago a couple weeks ago, or he had all those long touchdown passes against Cincinnati and Cleveland, respectively. You ever notice that? It's because it kind of seems like they're compensating for their lack of red zone production. Washington is 26th in red zone offense this season, and we are the complete opposite of that. We have the best red zone defense in the NFL. So that's what I mean when I say by Washington's best strength is also their worst weakness. Okay. So winning in the red zone is huge here. If we can beat Washington in the red zone and if we can keep them off the board when they do get to the red zone, I like our chances right here. Okay. Because our defense does play its best when we are in the red zone. That's when we cause the turnovers. That's when we get the sacks in. And that's when we limit teams from just having a touchdown drive to just kicking a field goal. Because there's an old saying in the NFL to where, when you kick field goals, you only increase your chances of losing. So if we can hold Washington to just field goals and we can keep them out of the end zone when they get to the red zone, that's going to be a huge favor on ourselves, and I think that increases our chances of winning dramatically in this game. But as I was talking about also with winning in the trenches and pressuring Jayden Daniels here, that's important as well because, like I said, Washington does have a very good offensive line. They protect Jayden Daniels very well. They open up running lanes for their run game. They're very good with run blocking. They're very good with pass blocking. So you're looking at a trench matchup right here with Alex Highsmith on Coleman, who's a rookie right there. I think that's a good advantage for us right there. Him going up against a good pass rusher right there and Alex Highsmith. Then you got Cam Hayward against Allegretti, if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, please correct me. You got Keanu Benton at nose tackle going up against Baziz, their center. You got Larry Ogunjobi against Cosme, and then you got TJ Watt against Wiley. So I think at least 2 out of the 3 matchups with the trenches here lean in our favor. And when it comes to getting to Jayden Daniels, look, I'm not saying I want the kid injured because I like Jayden Daniels. I'm a big fan of him so far. I'm not saying injure the guy, but I want you to put the hurt on him. And what I mean by that is that I want you to beat him up. I want you to get physical with him. I want you to just make life very uncomfortable for him. Okay. He's a rookie for as productive and for as dominant as he's looked so far. At the end of the day, he still is a rookie, and he has not faced a defense of this caliber just yet, a defensive line of this caliber just yet this in his career, a pass rush at this point in his career. He has not gone up against this type of defense just yet. So don't injure the kid, but I do want you to put the hurt on him. I want to see Jayden Daniels leave this game going like, wow, I just played the toughest defense in my life after this game. So kind of give him a little bit of the welcome to the NFL. You know what I mean? That's going to be a tall order as well, for as easy as that sounds, because like I said, it all revolves around Washington's offensive line. They did not allow a single sack last week against the New York Giants. So, and we know the Giants do have a solid pass rush as well. The Giants currently lead the league in sacks. And now they're going up against another prolific type of pass rush right here. So, if we can get a couple of bags on Jayden Daniels in this game, I think we're in good hands. And that's why winning in the trenches is so vital in this game. And if you beat him in the red zone, that's vital as well. So basically, our defense is going to come through in this game if we're to win this game right here, because I do like us winning in a defensive standoff in this game. But if it comes to a shootout, I really don't know if I'm fully ready to say, yes, we can win in a shootout. So this is the type of game where the defense needs to step up 100%. Like I said, beating him in the red zone is huge. Because remember, back in week 2, when the Commanders beat the Giants, Washington won 21-18. And you think to yourself, well, okay, Washington got 3 touchdowns and the Giants probably just kicked 6 field goals or whatever. Wrong. Washington, actually, it was the total opposite. The Giants scored 3 touchdowns, but missed 3 extra points, and I believe they didn't go for a 2-point conversion right there. So that's 6 points off the board for the Giants right there. In contrast, Washington won that game by kicking 7 field goals against the Giants. And you might say that's a testament to how good defensively Washington is, but I'm here to tell you, a game like that is just an anomaly. That's the first time in NFL history that such a thing has happened, where a team won a game in spite of them not scoring a touchdown while giving up at least 3 touchdowns to their opponent. That's the biggest anomaly in NFL history. So, taking a look at Washington's defense right here, they do run a very aggressive 4-3 type of defense under Joe Witt Jr., and they do have some pretty good players on the defense right there. Frankie Louvu at linebacker, I think he's good for them. Dante Fowler on the edge, I think he's a very good pass rusher. Daron Payne at defensive tackle, he's always going to be a chore up against our O-line right there. And then, of course, you got Bobby Wagner, very good, solid veteran at inside linebacker right there. That was a big acquisition for Washington right there. They are down Jonathan Allen on defensive tackle with a pec tear, but still, I think you look at this Washington team defensively, they are physical and they are capable of getting to the quarterback a lot. And, it shows, because Washington, for as shaky as their pass defense is, Washington has come away with 24 sacks on the season. So pretty respectable right here. I think this is going to be either a complete shootout, or it's going to be, an onslaught of pass rushing right here by both defenses. That's what that's what it's going to boil down to, nothing in between. As I'm recording this video, Washington did, of course, add Marshawn Lattimore from the New Orleans Saints at the trade deadline. So their pass defense did get a little bit better right there, but still, their pass defense is very shaky. They do give up some big explosive plays on offense. Overall, Washington is respectable on defense. They are 11th in points per game this season, but they're very mediocre when it comes to the rush defense and the pass. They're actually bottom tier in rush defense. They're 30th in rush defense and 28th in pass defense. This is a very subpar type of defense we're going up against here. And this is where the offense needs to strike where the iron is hot, because this offense that the Steelers have is coming in with newfound confidence. Almost 32 points averaging a game since week 5. And with Russell Wilson under center, this offense has looked much more dynamic. It's looked much more productive, and it's looked much more, more fluid and well-balanced. I think the only problem with our offense is that we need to finish up drives, and we need to not keep points off the board. Like against the Giants a couple weeks ago, I felt like we left at least 14 points off the board against them, a maximum of 21. A 26-18 win. It should have been 40-18 in my opinion. But you need to be able to finish up drives right here. You can't commit dumb penalties, Broderick Jones, and you need to be able to, get offense. You need to get points on the board. You cannot leave points off the board against a Washington team like this. Pittsburgh coming in this game is 13th in points per game. And like I said, averaging almost 32 points a game since week 6. And I'm not going to go full into depth with this just yet because I got a separate video on that. We did add Mike Williams to our receiving corps at the trade deadline. To put it shortly, because I want to wrap up Mike Williams and Preston Smith in this video or in separate videos, respectively. But Mike Williams is here. I'm not in love with the move. I felt like we could have done better, but it is an upgrade in some ways. His torn ACL and him getting older are concerning, and that's just that's a big concerning factor for me. But he is good with the 50-50 catches. And I think him and Pickens on the outside can open CA3 in the slot a little bit since Roman Wilson is still on IR. But all in all, I'll take it, but I'm just not in love with it. And as for Preston Smith, I just think that he's going to be a depth piece. And I think he's not here to replace anybody, but I think he's a solid depth piece. And having depth in the NFL is vital nowadays. So those are my takes on it right now. Again, I'm going to have a separate video on both those both those trades right there. But defense, definitely winning in the trenches, pressuring Jayden Daniels are key. We are 5th in passing defense this season. So like I said, big test for Washington's offense right here going up against our pass rush. And my final key to victory for the Steelers in general, you got to keep moving the ball. Okay, like I said before, the Commanders are built for having their offense stay on the field, racking up points, racking up short plays, and putting points and yards on the board. The Steelers need to do the opposite of that on offense. That means long, lengthy drives, winning time of possession, getting chunk plays, getting yards, and tiring out the defense. And that's something that I think the Steelers are more than capable of doing, as the Steelers have done that over the past several weeks. In the last 3 games, Najee Harris is averaging 107 yards on the ground in his last 3 games. And of course, Russell Wilson has had 250-plus yard passing games in both his starts this season against the Jets and Giants, respectively. And while the Jets and Giants are not very good teams, I do think both those teams have better defenses than Washington at this moment right here. So if Russell Wilson can connect on those long plays to George Pickens or now Mike Williams or CA3 or attacking the middle of the field with Pat Freiermuth. And if Najee Harris can take advantage of a bottom-tier rush defense, the Steelers are going to be in very good shape right there. Milking the clock is vital as well, tiring out that defense, being smart with time management. So there you go right there. The Steelers in the Mike Tomlin era are 13-4 coming off a bye week, so we have done very well in that department right there. But in this game, if you do the fundamentals correctly, and if you take advantage of the weaknesses that Washington has and their biggest weakness, which is also their biggest strength, I feel like we can come away with this win. Okay? I am certainly not underestimating Washington. I've said it before. In my opinion, they're the toughest team that we have left on the schedule. But this is a game where the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to need to do every single bit of fundamentals correctly in order to pull off this win. This Washington team is good. They're explosive. They're exciting. They're fun to watch. But I definitely think they're beatable. And Steeler Nation, it's time to put up or shut up. We've been talking about this part of the schedule all season, and now the time has come. It's time to put up or shut up. Everyone's counting us out. Everyone's calling us frauds. And if we come away with this win Sunday and have that kind of momentum and that confidence against Baltimore, the rest of the league is going to be on notice with this Pittsburgh Steelers team. Okay? I believe we can pull off this win. I believe we can go into DC and get this W. Remember, the last time that we played Washington was an unofficial Monday Night Football game, and we were 11-0 going into that game, and Washington beat us for our first loss of the season, and that kind of, began our downward spiral in 2020. You know what I want to see Sunday? The exact opposite. I want us coming in with momentum for this game and us beating Washington, and that kickstarts, and, that further continues the Pittsburgh Steelers playing well and playing with more confidence and riding momentum for the rest of the season and guiding us to a playoff win. The exact opposite needs to happen Sunday of what happened the last time that we played the Commanders on that unofficial Monday night game. Okay? I look forward to a great game with Washington. I've said it a million times. In my opinion, they're the toughest team that we have left, but I'm not going to act like they're not unstoppable. They have unstoppable aspects, but if there's any team that can stop Washington, it's us. And we need to prove that to ourselves and the league on Sunday. Let's get it going, Steeler Nation. Put up or shut up time. This is where the fun begins with the schedule. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And this was my preview. Mac, checking on out for the day. Have a good one, everybody. Go Steelers.